Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Smiley. It's such a pretty day today. I thought I would come outside and read you a story from outside today. So I picked a story that I really like a lot, and I've been saving this to read to you. It's called A Mother for Choco. And isn't he adorable? And this is written by an author who I, like a lot, Kiko Kaza. And I think you'll really enjoy this story. So before we get started, do you think this is going to be nonfiction or fiction? What do you think? If you said fiction, you're right. Fiction is our fun, entertaining stories, and this kind of looks cartoony and, something we'll really enjoy. So this is definitely a fiction story. If it was a story about real birds and real things, then we'd say nonfiction. And I want to show you one more thing. So here's our cover with our title and our author's name. Now I'm going to turn the page. And this is not what you're used to seeing for a title page. This is called a table of contents, and this is something I wanted to take a minute to show to you. Now the table of contents, it lists the name of a book and then the page number. So this says A Mother for Choco is on page 3. Nicely Nicely is a different story. It's actually a poem. That is on page 33. So if you'd want to read the poem, you could go to page 33. Animal family. So if you want to read an article about animal families, you would go to page 34. And down here it says Families, Families, another poem. If you wanted to read that poem, you could go to page 36. So a table of contents is really handy because it shows you at a glance where you can find these different things in your book. Okay? So I thought that would be fun to share with you. Now the story that we're going to read is called A Mother for Choco. So it's on page 3. So I'm going to go ahead and turn to page 3 and let's start our story. And here's our main character. Choco, oh, hold on, put your listening ears on and get ready to go. I'm going to put my glasses on. Here we go. Choco was a little bird who lived all alone. He wished he had a mother, but who could his mother be? One day, he set off to find her. Make a prediction. Do you think he'll find his mother? Look at this picture. First, Choco met Mrs. Giraffe. "Oh, Mrs. Giraffe," he cried, "you are yellow just like me. Are you my mother?" "I'm sorry," sighed Mrs. Giraffe, "but I don't have wings like you." That is true. They're both yellow, but the giraffe doesn't have wings. Next, what animal is that? Next, Choco met Mrs. Penguin. "Oh, Mrs. Penguin," he cried, "you have wings just like me. Are you my mother?" "Oh, I'm sorry," sighed Mrs. Penguin, "but I don't have big round cheeks like you." That is true. Choco has big round cheeks. The penguin doesn't. Then Choco met Mrs. Walrus. "Oh, Mrs. Walrus," he cried, "you have big round cheeks just like me. Are you my mother?" "Now look," grumped Mrs. Walrus, "I don't have any striped feet like you, so don't bother me." Oh, let's look at that. Choco has striped feet and Walrus doesn't. Let's see who's on the next page. Look at all the animals on the next page. No matter where Choco searched, he couldn't find a mother who looked just like him. Oh, look at Choco. How is he feeling right here in our story? Pretty sad. I hope he finds his mother. Oh, look. He sees someone in the forest. When Choco saw Mrs. Bear picking apples, he knew she couldn't be his mother. Mrs. Bear didn't look like him at all. She doesn't look like Choco, does she? You're going to like this page. Choco was sad. Choco was sad and he started to cry. "Mommy, Mommy, I need a mommy." Mrs. Bear came running to see what was the matter, and she listened to Choco's story. She sighed. "Oh dear, if you had a mommy, What would she do? Oh, I'm sure she would hold me, said Choco, like this, asked Mrs. Bear, and she held Choco very tight. I think I like Mrs. Bear. Yes, I am sure she would kiss me too, said Choco. Like this, asked Mrs. Bear, and she lifted Choco and gave him a big kiss. Yes, and I'm sure she would sing and dance with me to cheer me up, said Choco. Like this, asked Mrs. Bear, and they sang and danced together. When they stopped to rest, Mrs. Bear turned to Choco and said, Choco, maybe I could be your mother. You? But you aren't yellow, and you don't have wings or big round cheeks or striped feet like me. My goodness, said Mrs. Bear, that would make me look very funny. Choco thought it was funny too. Wow, said Mrs. Bear, my other children are waiting for me at home. Why don't you join us for apple pie, Choco? Apple pie sounded wonderful to Choco, so off they went. There they go. When they arrived at Mrs. Bear's, other children rushed to greet her. Choco, said Mrs. Bear, meet Hippie, Allie, and Piggy. I am their mother, too. Now take a good look at them. Do her other children look just like her? They don't, do they? The sweetest smell of apple pie and the sound of laughter soon filled Mrs. Bear's home. After their delicious treat, Mrs. Bear gave all of her children a big warm bear hug, and Choco was happy that his new mommy looked just the way she did. Hi boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed the story A Mother for Choco. And in the story, Choco was looking for a mother. He looked all over, he traveled, he was so sad he cried, he wanted a mommy. Did he find that mother that he was looking for in the story? What do you think? I think you probably got that one right. Yes, he did. He did find a mother. And the mother that he found, did she look just like Choco? Did she have chubby cheeks and striped feet and wings? No, she didn't, did she? The mother that he found in the story looked very different. Who was the character that ended up being Choco's mother in the story? You're right. I think you're right. I know some of you are. Mother Bear. And Mother Bear, maybe she didn't have chubby cheeks and wings and feet, but what were the things that made her a really special mother and showed Choco that she could be his mother in the story? Can you think of a few? Maybe I can help you. When Choco was crying and sad, did she take care of him? Yes, she did, didn't she? How about this? When Choco needed a hug, did she give Choco a hug? Yes, she did. What about when Choco needed a kiss? Did Mother Bear give Choco a kiss? Yes, she did. What about in the story when Choco wanted to sing and dance? Did she sing and dance with Choco? Yes, she did. And then we also got to see what Mother Bear's family looked like. Were they all bears? Did Mother Bear's family look just like her in the story? Her family didn't look like that, did they? Her family was very different. She had an alligator, a hippopotamus, and a little piglet for children, and now she was going to have a little bird named Choco. So we learn in the story that not all families have to look the same. If there's love in your family, I think that's what matters the most, don't you? I hope you enjoyed the story, boys and girls. Have a good day.